The unseen architects, how algorithms shape our world. Imagine waking up in the morning and grabbing your phone, because let's be honest, that's the first thing many of us do. Before your brain even boots up, your screen lights up with headlines chosen just for you, songs that match your mood, and videos you didn't ask for, but will somehow watch for the next 20 minutes. Who's doing all this work? Tiny digital creatures? Mind readers? Your mom? No, algorithms. They are the unseen architects of your digital world, quietly working behind the scenes, building, sorting, suggesting, predicting, and, let's be real, sometimes completely confusing us. Algorithms may sound mysterious or even scary, but at their heart, they are just step-by-step instructions, like recipes with fewer eggs and more math. According to the classical definition, an algorithm is a finite sequence of rigorous instructions used to solve a problem or perform a computation. Fancy words for, here's how to get something done, follow the steps. But today's algorithms are different. They learn. However, many of the algorithms shaping our modern lives aren't old-school recipes. They're powered by machine learning, ML, which means they don't just follow instructions. They learn from data, adapting and improving over time. A classical algorithm is like a strict cookbook. Follow the steps exactly every time. An ML algorithm is more like a chef who tastes, experiments, and then changes the recipe based on what worked and what didn't. That's why algorithms behind your playlists, feed suggestions, or shopping recommendations can surprise you even when you didn't expect it. 1. Your morning designed by algorithms. You roll out of bed. Your music app suggests a chill playlist because it has learned your Monday morning grumpiness pattern. Then your news app shows a story about baby otters because you once clicked on a single otter video at 2 a.m. and now the system assumes you're obsessed. These are recommendation algorithms and, like the best or worst, personal assistants. They pay attention to everything: your clicks, your pauses, your scrolls, how long you stare at a picture, and whether you hit like. Because they're driven by ML and huge data, they adapt over time, learning what you might enjoy before you even realize what you want. As outlined in your earlier draft, social media feeds, Amazon suggestions, and streaming recommendations all act as the invisible hand of recommendations. Essentially, if Merlin the Wizard became a computer programmer, this is what he would build. 2. The algorithmic gatekeepers. But algorithms don't just suggest, they decide. Social media apps don't show you everything your friends post. That would be chaos. Instead, algorithms rank content, first the juicy, the likely you'll click, the engaging, then the maybe, and finally the why are you even seeing this. Search engines behave similarly. Think of them as librarians. But librarians who whisper, look at this book first. Trust me. And because the algorithms learned what people click on most, they'll keep suggesting the same kind of content. This means many of us live in filter bubbles, echo chambers that mostly reflect what we already believe. 3. The architects of decision-making. Algorithms also quietly work behind major real-world decisions: loan approvals, job application shortlists, predictive policing, dynamic pricing, and much more. Let's say you try to book a flight. You check the price on one device, then another, and suddenly the price rises. Is the airline haunted? No. A dynamic pricing algorithm noticed your repeated interest and adjusted the cost. Banks, employers, and city planners also rely on algorithms to assess risk, judge profiles, and forecast trends. But these systems are powerful and not always fair. 3.5. The unintended consequences. Efficiency versus ethics. Algorithms don't just apply values, they choose which values matter. And sometimes the trade-offs can be socially or ethically problematic. Take navigation apps like the ones you use to avoid traffic. These apps optimize for one value, your fastest route. When highways clog up, they'll often send drivers down quiet residential roads because mathematically they're shorter. Great for you. Not great for the neighborhood. Suddenly, thousands of cars roar through streets that were peaceful just a few minutes ago. Speeding, honking, risk to children and pedestrians, noise, pollution. Your smooth, optimized ride comes at the cost of entire communities' peace and safety. This is a real-life example of an algorithmic trade-off, prioritizing individual efficiency, fastest route, sacrificing collective well-being, neighborhood safety, environmental noise. It reminds us that algorithms don't just do math, they make decisions, and those decisions can carry serious social consequences. 4. The human fingerprints on every algorithm. Algorithms might seem like neutral, robotic judges wearing cold, logical robes, but behind every algorithm sits a human, or many humans, with assumptions, blind spots, and biases. Training data reflects the real world, including its inequalities and prejudices. An ML algorithm doesn't understand fairness. It just notices patterns and extrapolates. Give it biased data and it'll learn bias. But there's an even bigger problem: the black box. 4.5. The black box problem and explainable AI, XAI. Many modern ML systems, especially deep neural networks, are what we call black boxes. They might have millions of parameters, all interacting in complex nonlinear ways. We can see the input like your name, your history, your resume. The output, a loan accepted or rejected, a job interview or not. But we cannot easily see why the output was chosen. The inner logic? Hidden behind layers of math. That opacity creates serious issues. You may never know whether a rejected application was due to relevant qualifications or bias baked into the system. To fix this, researchers use tools called Explainable AI, XAI, for instance, LIME, Local Interpretable Model Agnostic Explanations, SHAP values, Shapley Additive Explanations. These techniques act like flashlights inside the black box, highlighting which features, age, region, keywords, past behavior, influenced a decision. But even with XAI tools, full transparency is still a challenge. And until we overcome that, algorithms remain powerful and opaque. 5. Navigating the algorithmic age. We can't escape algorithms. They run our phones, cars, schools, hospitals, banks, even some fridges, but we can try to live with them wisely. Here's how to survive, and maybe thrive. Understand your data footprint. Every click, pause, search, and scroll tells a story about you. Curate your online experience, reset history, teach platforms new preferences, opt out when possible. Question what you see. Your feed is not reality, it is filtered reality. Stay human in a machine-shaped world. Value empathy, context, fairness, and critical thinking. 6. The future, intelligence, energy, and responsibility. As algorithms grow smarter and more powerful, they also get hungrier for energy, water, and computational resources. And that hidden cost matters. The true hidden cost of AI. Energy and CO2 emissions. Training a large AI model can produce hundreds of tons of CO2. For example, one influential study estimated that training a powerful model, similar to GPT-3, consumed around 1,287 megawatt-hours of electricity and emitted roughly 500 to 550 metric tons of CO2. Global scale impact. A recent 2025 analysis covering 369 generative AI models found their combined lifetime energy use runs into the tens of terawatt-hours, producing millions of tons of CO2. Water and cooling costs. Data centers also consume massive amounts of water for cooling, a growing concern, especially in drought-prone regions. Even if each individual AI query seems harmless, the global scale, billions of queries, thousands of data centers worldwide, adds up to a serious environmental impact. Toward greener, smarter AI. The good news, the field is waking up to this problem. Researchers and companies are exploring green AI, approaches that aim to reduce environmental cost while retaining performance. Some strategies include using more energy-efficient architectures, sparse neural networks, instead of dense models, optimizing where and when models are trained, e.g. using locations with cleaner energy, measuring not just accuracy but also energy consumption, water use, and CO2 emissions as first-class metrics. If done wisely, future algorithms won't just be smart, they'll be sustainable. Conclusion: the invisible blueprint. Algorithms are the quiet builders of our digital lives. They shape what we see, what we know, what we buy, even who we meet. Sometimes they guide us well. Sometimes they mislead us or reinforce unfair biases, or invisibly cost our planet precious resources. But now, with a clearer view of how they work, what they cost, and what they can become, you're not walking blind through an algorithm-powered world. You're stepping into it with eyes open, awareness turned on, and a sense that we, humans, not algorithms, should remain the true architects of our world. Because the future isn't just written in code, it's written by us.
It's time to study new words in context. 1. Boot up. Definition: to start a computer or digital device, so that it becomes ready for use. In context, it refers to technology beginning to operate. Example: every morning he grabs his phone before his brain has fully booted up. 2. Rigorous. Definition: extremely careful, precise, and thorough, often following strict rules or standards. Example: an algorithm follows a rigorous set of instructions to solve a problem accurately. 3. Grumpiness. Definition: a state of being easily annoyed, unhappy, or in a bad mood. Example: the music app recognized her Monday morning grumpiness and suggested calm songs. 4. Biases. Definition: unfair preferences or prejudices that influence judgment, often without conscious awareness. Example: algorithms can develop biases if they are trained on unfair or unbalanced data. 5. Extrapolate. Definition: to predict or estimate something based on existing data or observed patterns. Example: the system extrapolates future behavior from a user's past online activity. 6. Parameter. Definition: a specific factor or variable that influences how a system or model operates. Example: age and location can be important parameters in an algorithm's decision-making process. 7. Nonlinear. Definition: not following a straight or predictable path, involving complex relationships where changes do not produce proportional results. Example: neural networks use nonlinear processes that are difficult for humans to follow. 8. Opacity. Definition: the quality of being difficult to see through or understand, especially in how decisions are made. Example: the opacity of AI systems makes it hard to explain why certain choices were made. 9. Curate. Definition: to carefully select, organize, and present content in a thoughtful way. Example: users can curate their online feeds by choosing what to follow and what to block. 10. Value empathy. Definition: to consider and prioritize understanding, care, and concern for others' feelings and experiences. Example: designers should value empathy when creating algorithms that affect people's lives. 11. Query. Definition: a question or request for information, especially one sent to a computer system or database. Example: each search query triggers an algorithm to retrieve the most relevant results. 12. Sustainable. Definition: able to continue over time, without causing serious harm to the environment or society. Example: sustainable AI systems aim to reduce energy use and environmental damage. 13. Metaphor. Definition: a figure of speech that explains one idea by comparing it to something else. Example: calling algorithms unseen architects is a metaphor for their hidden influence. 14. Assumptions. Definition: beliefs or ideas that are accepted as true without definite proof. Example: algorithms often rely on assumptions about user behavior that may not always be accurate.
Comprehension questions. 1. What is an algorithm, according to the classical definition? Answer: a finite sequence of clear, rigorous instructions used to solve a problem or perform a computation. 2. How does a classical algorithm differ from a machine learning (ML) algorithm? Answer: a classical algorithm follows fixed, step-by-step instructions, like a recipe. An ML algorithm learns and changes its rules based on data, adapting over time. 3. What is one example of a recommendation algorithm affecting your morning routine? Answer: apps like Spotify suggesting playlists or news apps. Shown personalized headlines based on past behavior. 4. What is a filter bubble? Answer: a digital environment where algorithms show you content similar to what you already like or believe, limiting exposure to diverse viewpoints. 5. Why might a flight price increase after checking it several times? Answer: dynamic pricing algorithms detect repeated interest and adjust the price upward. 6. What ethical trade-off does the Waze navigation app example highlight? Answer: it prioritizes individual efficiency, fastest route, but harms collective welfare, neighborhood safety and quality of life. 7. What is the black box problem in modern AI? Answer: the internal decision-making process of complex models like neural networks is hard or impossible for humans to understand. 8. What is one tool used in Explainable AI, XAI, to make algorithmic decisions more understandable? Answer: SHAP values, Shapley additive explanations, or LIME, local interpretable model agnostic explanations. 9. Why do algorithms inherit human biases? Answer: because they learn from real-world training data, which often contains human mistakes, stereotypes, or inequalities. 10. What is one way algorithmic systems can shape our digital experience without us noticing? Answer: by ranking and curating social media feeds, search results, or product recommendations based on predicted interests. 11. What environmental impact do large AI models have? Answer: training them consumes huge amounts of electricity and water, producing significant CO2 emissions and heat that must be cooled. 12. Give one statistic that shows the environmental cost of AI. Answer: training a large model, similar to GPT-3, can emit hundreds of metric tons of CO2, roughly comparable to hundreds of long-distance flights. 13. What is green AI? Answer: a movement to create AI systems that use less energy, reduce emissions, and focus on sustainability alongside accuracy. 14. Why is human digital literacy important in the age of algorithms? Answer: because understanding how algorithms influence our choices helps us avoid bias, manipulation, filter bubbles, and misinformed decisions. 15. What main idea does the article emphasize in the conclusion? Answer: algorithms shape our world, but humans must remain the true architects, using awareness and responsibility to guide technology's future. 16. How can individuals take back control from algorithmic influence? Answer: by managing data footprints, resetting recommendation histories, questioning online content, and making intentional digital choices. 17. What makes recommendation algorithms feel almost magical? Answer: they predict what we want to see or hear based on patterns in our past behavior, even before we consciously realize our preferences. 18. Why is explainability in AI important for fairness? Answer: without understanding how decisions are made, we can't detect or correct biased or unfair outcomes. 19. What is one real-world consequence when black box decisions go wrong? Answer: people may be unfairly denied loans, jobs, or opportunities without knowing the reason. 20. What is the main danger of relying too heavily on opaque algorithms? Answer: they may make influential decisions without transparency, accountability, or fairness, and we may follow them unquestioningly.